How Arthur became a king. The tales of King Arthur and his knights of the Round Table are famous the world over. Under King Arthur's rule, a lot of good things happened in England. This is the tale of how Arthur became a king. In a village churchyard stood a great block of marble, and on it was an iron anvil. Embedded in the anvil was a magnificent sword. Its blade was made of the finest steel, and its gold handle was decorated with precious jewels. On the marble block were these words written in gold: "Whoever pulls forth this sword from the anvil is the king of all England." This was England of long ago, a land of brave knights and beautiful queens. But it was a troubled country as men fought for power. The sound of galloping horses, the clash of swords, and the cries of men in battle could be heard throughout the country. The people were tired of fighting and killing. They wanted a strong king to rule again and bring peace to their beloved country, England. "If we can find the man who will be able to remove the sword from the anvil," the citizens would say to one another, "we shall have a king again." As the years passed, many competitions began to be held near this sword. Tents were set up around a large field, and brightly colored flags fluttered in the breeze. The knights were dressed from head to toe in armor. They would fight among themselves as to who would try to pull the sword out. All of them failed. The sword remained on the anvil, and England remained without a king. To one such competition came Sir Hector with his son Sir Kay and the adopted son Arthur, a tall and handsome boy of 16. Sir Kay was bold and strong and was determined to win the competition. He fought hard and knocked many men to the ground with his spear and sword. But while fighting, he broke his sword, so he had to leave the field. He shouted to young Arthur, "Quick, brother, bring me a sword from our tent." Arthur ran to the family tent, but could not find any sword. Knowing that his brother needed a sword right away, he looked around the field and his eyes fell on the sword that was embedded in the anvil. Without thinking, Arthur jumped onto the block of marble, grabbed the sword by its handle and pulled it out. Then he ran with it and gave it to his brother. As soon as Sir Kay held the sword, he felt its mighty power. It was so strong that it almost flew out of his hand. "Where did you get this sword?" Sir Kay asked. "It was stuck on the stone over there," said Arthur. "It did not seem to belong to anybody, so I took it. Why do you ask?" Sir Kay did not reply. He knew at once that this was the sword everyone was fighting for. He thought to himself, "Surely this is a sign that I am meant to be the king." He now walked out proudly, showing everyone the sword. When Sir Hector saw the sword, he gasped and asked, "Ah, how did you get it?" Sir Kay said, "I broke my own sword and found this sword." But no one had seen Sir Kay take the sword out of the anvil. The knights refused to believe him. A test was ordered. Sir Kay was told to put the sword back in the anvil and take it out in front of everyone. Sir Kay tried and tried, but failed to even put back the sword into the anvil. It just would not go in. At last, young Arthur asked, "May I try?" All the older men smiled at this young boy, but they said, "Sweet boy, let him try." Arthur took the sword from Sir Kay and plunged it into the anvil. It went in so easily. Then he drew it out again and held it high in front of everyone. The knights and the villagers watching from far gasped with shock. "Does this mean that this young boy will be our king?" They began to ask among themselves. A tall man with a long white beard and long robes stepped out of the crowd. He was Merlin the Ageless. He spoke loudly and firmly. "This boy is our dead King Arthur's son, brought up by Sir Hector. Now he has proved by taking the sword out from the anvil that he should rule all over England. A cheer went up. People started rejoicing. Many knights bowed to their new king. But there were those who refused to accept this young boy as their king. It was not long before the argument caused two armies to be formed. Arthur led his loyal knights into battle like a true king, and they easily defeated his enemies. King Arthur became famous for this victory. Many good men realized that by giving him their loyalty, they could do good for their beloved country, England. And so they came from all parts of the country to King Arthur's castle at Camelot. At last, after all these years, England had found a good king. King Arthur was famous for another reason. A magic sword better than the one he had won. The magic sword was called Excalibur. But that, my dear students, is another story.